Hey everyone. I don't think I've ever properly introduced myself on this channel before. My name is Bored in a good way, or just Bored for short. Now obviously it's just an online pseudonym, but trust me, it fits just as well. I'm known by a lot of things depending on who you ask. My family knows me as the token Pokemon master, my friends know me as the guy who won't shut up, and I like to recognize myself as an obsessor of sickeningly cute Pokemon. However, what if I told you that there was one more thing that old Bored happens to know his way around? Romance. The act of two parties falling in love. I happen to be somewhat of a cupid myself and professional matchmaker, so I believe that I can talk on this topic. Call me Dr. Love, professional wingman and reliable romance professor. Now then, Pokemon is really weird and fascinating with the concepts of love, romance, and relationships, with many ignoring the various odd implications of Game Freak trying to make romance into an overly innocent concept. As a preface, this video will not handle adult topics, so if you're nervous, don't be. Today we're simply here to talk about romance, love, and those little beauty flies in your stomach. So get ready, because who's bored? Not me. I'm Dr. Love, and today we'll be taking a journey through Pokemon's weird history regarding romance. Let's start with the most obvious things and work our way down. Human romance stays about the same. Couples are constantly featured throughout the series, and many have children too. The male Pokefan is consistently shown with a toddler that I'm just taking a crazy assumption is probably his. It's probably safe to assume that he's married to the female counterparts of the trainer class who are, conveniently, never shown holding the children without exception. In the Sun and Moon anime, and by lesser extent the games, Professor Kukui and Professor Burnett are very obviously in love, and even get married and instantly birth a child in the anime. Wait a minute. Instantly birth a child. What does that remind me of? Oh yeah, let's not jump the gun. But obviously humans aren't the only creatures that can fall in love in the Pokemon world. If I have to tell you what other creatures are involved in this, then this really isn't the channel for you. Human and Pokemon romance, while not being completely unheard of, is never actually mentioned in a canonical game context. Interestingly though, the anime is pseudo-canon, proved by Ash's inclusion in Pokemon Masters X. This gives us an instant and easy example through spoilers, Latias kissing Ash. Okay, so it's rare, but it can happen. More likely though, are Pokemon falling in love with other Pokemon. Kind of. See, love is the confusing term here. For some reason Generation 2, while also being the generations of babies and Dunsparce, was the generation of true blue romance. With the inclusion of Pokemon genders, the attract move was introduced, which quite literally makes the enemy infatuated with you to the point where they become immobilized, which is sort of terrifying, but I digress. Infatuation is not love. Google describes it as an intense but short-lived passion with someone. What an accurate description for a battle ailment. So that answers the question, right? Pokemon don't have relationships like humans. No, it's not that simple, unfortunately. See, the actual Pokemon in specific make this discussion a whole lot more confusing. However, there is one horrendous and confusing example in particular, Maushold, the family Pokemon. Now I can't explain why, but no dex entry refers to them as a couple, just a pair. Now I literally have a PhD in love, and I've never heard of a couple be referred to as a pair, so that's weird. It gets weirder, as the dex entries for Maushold specify that the little ones just appeared one day. Again, the selective language kills me. It doesn't call them children and it's vague about their origins, which is average of Pokemon, I guess. It even goes on to specify that while they might be related, these super smart Pokemon scientists can't figure it out, which is ridiculous. Its signature move Population Bomb just gets goofy by referring to them as, and I quote, the user's fellows. So they're just a pair, and the kids are just little guy fellows, I guess. And scientists can't figure out if the 4 identical mice are related. A few more interesting cases go to Volbeat, who really likes Illumis scent. Okay, yet again pretty dodgy. You have the case of Salazzle, which is stated to create reverse harems of Salandit, but that isn't love, and it's almost directly stated multiple times. We haven't even gotten into breeding mechanics yet, where you pair up two Pokemon in a daycare and it produces an egg. And as a professional in love, this one angers me more, as it doubles down on the idea that Pokemon just form pairs, and a magic force from the Aether gives them little guy fellows. I get it, it's a kid's game, but was this really better than just a stork dropping an egg or something? Actually, a stork Pokemon was planned for Gen 2, so maybe they actually wanted to do that. And maybe they cut it because implying that Pokemon could fall in love was too much? But this also seems wrong, since the anime has this literally constantly happen, not even remotely being odd or rare. Man, what a mess. It must be sad to be a Pokemon, not being allowed to feel love without an excuse, and not being allowed to have a significant other without it being vague and mysterious. Unfortunately, there just is no good answer to this question, which means that Dr. Love simply must keep researching. Pokemon do tend to feel deep love for their trainers, but only on a friendly level, which paints a sad, almost strange picture, where the strong emotions of Pokemon are only accepted by Game Freak if they're in the service of humans, and shunned if it's with another Pokemon. Obviously that isn't the intent, but it's the only thing that links up. Then again, I could also be exaggerating, though this is mainly a Pokemon channel, so that should be expected. So I guess it's time for a conclusion. Love in the Pokemon universe is extremely odd. It's written both very naturally and very strangely, with Game Freak seemingly not being able to decide whether love is too much to put in a kid's game, or whether it doesn't really matter. It opens up an interesting discussion about what love is too much love to depict in children's media, or whether we should depict love at all, but I'm not really qualified to talk about that. Who's bored? I'm bored, and it's not like I have a PhD in this sort of thing. I'm just a normal guy and an extremely handsome YouTuber. I've never had a serious relationship in my life. Remember to follow my Tumblr and Blue Sky for art, and my Wattpad and AO3 for fanfictions. All my socials are bored in a good way, don't forget the underscores, and I always try to respond to DMs. You wanna face me in Showdown? I'm trainer_bored, and usually I'm available every now and again. And remember, always, stay bored.